let me move closer. All right, so it's a great time. General Ney, thank you for joining us. Thank you very much. I appreciate. So we're going to be discussing something that's that is very crucial, and I'm going to be discussing real estate because all I've done all my life is real estate, and I've had a lot of um, inquiries. Thank you very much, General Ney. I'm glad you're part of this. Thank you, sir. I appreciate this. So I had a lot of inquiries, a lot of questions that I needed to respond to, and this is more or less like we're always responding to some important discussions. I don't want to go into the academic world, but I would say that is a scholarly discussion concerning Lagos State real estate market. A lot of people have had their say, they've had their own concerns. A lot of people have been lending their voice towards property investment in Lagos, Nigeria. And then there was a video of a concerned real estate investor who believed that Lagos property is overhyped. A lot of people are seeing a property that was, advertised in Banana Island for 6 million, or was it 6 million, $5 million? So this particular person said it's not worth it, and he gave a comparison of a 5 million property in Dubai, and there were a lot of reactions. There are a lot of um, scholarly. I'm going to the word. Um, okay, so I was asked to take out the fan. The fan said is affecting it. Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Thank you very, very, very much. All right, I think it's better now. I can see. I can see. Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate that. Okay, I think it's better now. So, is Lagos property really wide? Uh, are real estate investors being manipulated? What exactly is actually happening in our industry? Real estate developers taking advantage of property investors? What are the basic fundamentals of real estate investments that many people are not aware of? So I'm going to be responding to some of these questions by giving data, by giving analysis, by responding. Okay, so I'm also going live on Facebook as well. Okay, I think I'm live on Facebook as well. All right, so real estate investors being manipulated? What exactly is the situation of real estate investing, and what does real estate investors need to know as they are investing in Lagos? Now, the first thing I really need to talk about is that there is no regulation in the industry. Now, this is not a justification to this general assertion. Now, when we talk about Lagos property, really, what's the value that is being projected in market? What exactly are those important indices, okay, that is affecting property investment in Lagos? There are several factors that affect property investment. But before I go into that very quickly, I'm going to be talking about important things, okay, that actually determine pricing. I'm going to be talking about important things, okay, that determine pricing in Lagos. So I'm going to be outlining three important things. Now, when you are doing the Lagos State real estate investment, or when you are investing in Lagos, now the advantage Lagos have over several other locations is numerous, and I'll try as much as I can, okay, to outline some of these things so that we can have a meaningful discussion today. So I'm going to be eating the fact, but let's talk about what actually affects pricing of real estate in Lagos. What are the basic fundamentals? What are the factors, okay, that talks about pricing? And in doing this, this is obviously not a justification to whatsoever pricing, but I'm going to be talking about three important things that talks about that determines pricing. Now, a lot of people have explained some their factor. I saw the guy's video on Instagram. I think it was Egungun that was talking with this particular investor, and he responded to some of the inquiries, okay, that was raised. So I'm going to quickly respond to that very quickly, and I will try as much as I can, okay, to look at this. Now, what are the factors that determine pricing, or should I say, are real estate developers exploiting buyers? Now, the first thing I want to say, or the first point I'll be raising basically, is that in my years of practice in Lagos, we have witnessed different scenarios. We've witnessed the good side of real estate, we've seen the ugly side of real estate, and trust me, we've also seen the worst side of real estate. And the reason for all these, will I say, fortunate or unfortunate circumstances, is due to the fact that there are a lot of circumstances that happens in this our industry, and you cannot undermine the importance, okay, of working with someone who understands the industry. Now, whether a property is overpriced or a lot of people are being will I say cheated or are being priced out of the market is relative. And the reason why I'm saying this, or why I'm using this expression, is due to the fact that let's talk about what affects pricing, which is funding real estate projects in Lagos. Now, let me also reiterate the fact that one of the basic responsibility of the government, okay, is to ensure there is readily affordable and available houses for every resident or every citizens of the state. So the basic obligations of government is to provide food, shelter, and accommodation. But we have seen several times that a lot of participations, like public participation, private sector participations, and the industry has actually been flooded. So we have different kind of elements, different kind of human beings, different kind of actors, different kind of investors moving to the real estate industry. And what exactly is the cause of this? And that's what I'm going to be talking about: funding. Now, when we talk about funding, so when we talk about funding, what exactly do we mean by that? Now, the success of a project is dependent on the funding. And when we talk about funding, we also need to talk about the regulatory policies that governs real estate activities. Now, recently, we have seen that the Lagos state government have been making deliberate efforts, okay, to checkmate, the excesses of some real estate development companies. And kudos to the administration of Governor Babajide Sanwo-Olu. There've been a lot of regulations, policies that has been enacted. Now, is Lagos property overpriced? Let's look at some of the important factors that determine pricing. Number one, funding. The success of any project is depending on the funding. Now, there's no way we will talk about funding and we will ignore the present economic realities of the country. So when we talk about funding, we need to take a holistic overview of the prices of building materials in Lagos. Let's look at the economic factor. As at last year, we used to buy 1 ton of iron rod. Or was it last year? 2 years ago, or several years ago, we used to buy ton of iron rod for, let's say, 350,000, 550,000. During the era of General Muhammad Buhari, the former president of Nigeria, the cost of iron rod, okay, increased from 450, 500 to like 700, 800. So before you agree to the fact that property is overhyped, I think we need to do a holistic overview and understand the economic situation of the nation. During this present regime of Asiwaju Bola Ahmed Tinubu, from 900, iron rod right now is being sold for 1.2, 1.4, 1.5 million. I have once bought a bag of cement, okay, for, let's say, 3,000, 4,000. The present reality right now is that that same bag of cement is being sold for almost 10,000, 10,500. That is not to talk about the trip of sand. As at last week, a trip of sand in one of our construction sites presently right now was offloaded for 175,000 naira per trip. Okay, so we need to understand these economic dynamics before we can raise a meaningful explanation, so that you can, be in reality to the present situation of the nation. Now, the reason why I'm giving this facts, why I'm giving these figures, why I'm giving some of this explanation, okay, is due to the fact that it is very easy, very, very easy to draw a conclusion from an investigation or from a conversation, okay, or the present reality of the economics. Because you see, when people jump into conclusions, when people are always quick to judge, they don't carefully, okay, examine the market fundamentals. And what are these market fundamentals? The cost of construction. The cost of construction. So the price at which building materials now are being sold are relatively expensive. As at 2 years ago, if you own 7 million naira, as at 2-3 years ago, as at 2-3 years ago, if you own 7 million naira, you can comfortably build a 3-bedroom fully detached bungalow, though you won't do the interior finishing. Presently right now, you have more to even build that same bungalow. So we need to understand the basic things that determines the prices of construction. And the reason why we have this situation, okay, is due to the fact that there is inflation. So you just can't come to the conclusion to say that developers are exploiting people, a lot of people are being manipulated. It is totally wrong, totally unfair to jump at conclusions if you don't understand the market dynamics. Now, I'm supposed to repair one of our generators that we use on at the office, and as I am coming from, when the artisan that was actually handling this repair came, he told me basically that oil that we used to buy, engine oil for generator maintenance that we used to buy, I think 2 years ago, for for 1,500, 1,000. I'm coming from the market right now, and that same engine oil we priced it for 5,000. Imagine look at the gap from 1,500 to 5,000, and that is not the fixed price. There are tendencies that even the price will even go higher. So we need to understand that at this point, it is not anybody's fault. There's inflation. Look at the present cost of internet for some of my MTN users, my brothers who are using the Nigerian network, whether you're on MTN, whether you're on how do I say it now, whether you're using Airtel or any of the social networks right now, they've been a 500% increase on the cost of data. So to now come to the conclusion, what actually pains me extremely is that when somebody would say that using the cost of properties in Dubai, the cost of properties in Cape Town, the cost of properties in other nations, that we don't operate the same economic dynamics is totally, see, that comparison even from that onset is wrong. Totally wrong and unacceptable. So we need to understand that you cannot use a $5 million property in Dubai to compare a 5 million property in Banana Island, because you see the cost of constructions are not the same. Now, this is obviously not a justification to situations whereby properties are just overpriced. Now, am I admitting to the fact that there are possibilities that some properties can be overpriced? Yes, I am. I've been practicing real estate now should be my 7th year, and with my interactions, and one of the reasons why I decided to go deeper, into the field of construction basically is due to the fact that I actually got interested in the costs, the pricing, so that when I have inquiries, I'm always in a better position to to give explanations. So the cost, the economy. So I think instead of trying to criticize or condemn real estate developers, I think we need to understand or trace the root of this problem. And what is the root of the problem? Inflation. The price of petrol, the price of fuel in Nigeria is affecting everything. And the situation has gotten to a point that it has affected every dynamics and every aspect of life. So before you will come to say a developer is exploiting you, or somebody is trying to manipulate, or someone is trying to do this, I think we need to look at what are the basic factors that is affecting construction. Dubai have a fixed and regulated economy. South Africa has a fixed and regulated economy. America and other nations of the world have a fixed and regulated economy. So you just can't come to these quick conclusions, and you are using their own economic dynamics to compare that of Nigeria, where tomorrow the same iron rod that we're buying for 1.5, 1.3, 1.2 can just increase to even 1.7 or even 2 million. And the question is, who do we hold accountable for all this? So there is no price regulation. So we need to look at, give a holistic approach, go to the fundamentals, go to the dynamics. Let us examine what exactly are the problems. Because you see, if this situation continues to persist, there's nothing anybody can do. You cannot expect a developer who have secured loans to do this project and is building in accordance to the economic reality to sell at a ridiculously cheap price simply because they want to please some bunch of whalers who have a biased perception about the Lagos City. See, I've come to realize basically that some people have what I call unnecessary obsession for properties in Lagos. In fact, some people have a natural hatred for Lagos. So every time they are always looking at the loopholes, okay, to criticize and of course devalue the industry. So these are the basics. These are the basics. So until pricing is stable, until the economic dynamics is stable, you cannot come to a conclusion that property in Lagos is overpriced. No, you can't. Because if you do, then you are not working with the obvious reality of our challenge as a nation. These are the basic fundamentals. Now let's talk about project funding. Let's talk about real estate funding. Let's talk about why some projects have been successful and others have failed woefully. Let's talk about that very quickly. Now, of course, if you have questions, please let us interact on the comment section. I'm discussing something that is very, very important. I'm discussing something that relates to investing in Lagos, where we are looking at the dynamics, we're looking at the fundamentals, and let's talk about funding. So how has real estate developers been coping owing to these economic uncertainties? We really need to give a constructive evaluation. Now let's talk about this. The first thing is that we have several projects scattered across Lagos. Now, a lot of people have asked questions. A lot of people have, interacted with me over time. I've spoken with, numerous real estate investors who have, had their own, experience. A lot of people have given their own insights, what they feel. A lot of people have, have even reached conclusions to say that Lagos is overpriced. Now, the question now is, will it affect the demand of properties? Now, I did a video which I'll be releasing very soon where I was talking about housing crisis in Lagos. I've done a live video concerning it before, but because of, when I come live like this, I try as much as I can, okay, to explain the little I can, have, but that video explains everything. Now, when you say property is overpriced in Lagos, now people who have come to the realization of this supposedly fact, that means the market would have dwindled. There will be a drop in demand. But it is interesting to note that even the available properties in Lagos cannot serve the entire population. So we have a situation of higher demand, lesser supply. So we need to have a constructive analysis of some of these things, because if we don't, okay, we will still be basking in the euphoria of. Now, I'm not saying, okay, I'm not against critics. I'm not against people who have their own opinion. I'm not against, of course, one of the reasons why we have a lot of property advisors, property evaluation, people who give their own opinion, okay. I love criticism, basically, but it is very important, okay, that we give what we call constructive criticism. We need to understand the reasons why all of these things are. Now, the point now is that if the cost of fuel does not drop, you say the prices you are even seeing today, the situation is so worse to the point that, I don't talk politics, I don't talk about administration, but basically, as a business person, as a real estate expert, as a real estate practitioner, we are all affected by these present realities. The situation is so tense to the point that every sector of the economy is also affected. So before you now say, okay, that this is this, we need to address the cost of fuel, because everything we do in Nigeria is associated with fuel. It is. We need to look at some of these things. Now, what are the factors that determine pricing? Let's start by looking at the important factors that determine prices. Number one, I talked about the cost of construction. The cost of construction right now is realistically expensive. I gave an overview of what we bought: cement, what we're buying, iron rod, what we're buying, truck of sand. I was doing an evaluation. We wanted to furnish a house, okay, for a client, and I spoke, with the furniture, who is going to do the kitchen cabinet, and the point basically is that the cost of, we have two types of wood. We have the HDF wood and we have the MDF wood. The HDF is the high definition wood, while the MDF is the middle definition, which is a lesser quality. As at 2021, 2022, to do a construction with HDF for a 3-bedroom apartment is not up to 250,000 using MDF wood. The present reality right now is that if you are doing the same right now, you're spending so much. So we need to talk about the problem of inflation, the cost of income, and the more. Now, presently now, one laborer now that works on site, before, how much do we pay laborer? We pay laborer sometimes 3,000, 3,500. A laborer that will work full day right now is charging, some are charging 9,000, some are charging 10,000. We need to address some of these things, because you cannot say a 5 million property in Dubai is of higher quality of 5 million property in Nigeria. The thing is, what is the cost of construction of the property in Dubai? It may even shock you to know that most of these guys did not even construct this property with their own money. They have access to loans. They have access to government funds and bonds. So sometimes they are doing this business in a well standardized and regulated economy. In Nigeria, you can start a foundation today, and the estimate you have given a client that this is what will cost us, okay, to start that foundation and finish this foundation. In the cost of construction, you can call the market and the prices will wow you. So there is no balance in the economy. So Nigerians, my fellow brothers, whether you are in Nigeria or you are in diaspora, anywhere you are across the world, let us be realistic. That is why real estate cannot see, when a property is relatively expensive, it is not just to the fact that, because people have this perception, okay, that everybody is trying to manipulate or dupe this person, but we need to think beyond that mentality and face the obvious fact. So the comparison was wrong in the first place. So because we need to understand this. So what determines the pricing? The cost of construction, the value of the property. Now, when we're now talking about property valuation, it is very important that we understand that what determines property prices in Lagos is location. I've said it in one of my videos that the reason why Lagos real estate is always at the forefront of every other development is simply based on the fact that Lagos is a place where tourism, hospitality, and every other thing is one of the major contributors to the economy. So it doesn't matter whether you have properties abroad, it doesn't matter whether you have properties in your hometown, there's this kind of fulfillment that you explore, that you display the moment you have a property in Lagos. Look at what the shortlet market contributed to the GDP of Lagos. This was actually one of the most profound and the most active contributor to our GDP, which is shortlets. So we need to understand that location is very crucial. There's no way, I was talking, a real estate investor contacted me and he said he wanted to buy 10 million properties in Songotedo, and he wants me to handle that construction. Excuse me. So he said he wanted me to handle that construction. And I looked at him and I said, sir, I will never, I apologize. This is the market reality. This is the market reality. This is what is going on. Now, you see, I have come to a conclusion that the reason why people, get duped whenever they are doing investments is that a lot of people are being lied to on a daily basis. So when we talk about, I have a video where I was talking about the game of deceit, where I was explaining costly investments error, but I was emphasizing on some of the exploitative strategies, that is being used by real estate practitioners and real estate developers. So of course, in the comment section, I'll be dropping some of these videos at your leisure time. You can check, so you can have a total understanding of what I'm trying to say. So with this present economic reality that is in Nigeria, I can come to the conclusion that properties are not overhyped. So before we can come to the conclusion whether property is overhyped, is that let us hope and pray that this present administration will tackle these economic challenges. Now, if I can go to the market, and I buy cement for 3,000, the price of iron rod, that increased sporadically from 350, 400, 500,000, and it increased, uncontrollably to like 1.5. If it comes down to, let's just say, maybe 600, the cost of sand before, when we started real estate, we used to buy a truck of sand for 40,000, 50,000, and there are some places where you will need 4, 5, 6 strips of sand to get some construction work done. But presently, right now, those truck of sand that used to be 45,000, 50,000, in some places it's 175,000, in some other places it is 200,000. Now, if the prices goes back to normal, or we are operating an economic policy that is similar to what we have in Dubai, to what we have in the UK, to what we have in the US, if we have a stable economy where there is stability in the prices of building materials, that's when we can now come to the conclusion that properties are overhyped or they are not. But the present reality is that even a 2-bedroom apartment that used to sell for 45 million, 35 million 2-3 years ago, right now is now worth 75 million, 65 and 66 million in other places on the island because the cost of construction. So that is the point I'm trying to raise today, so that we can have a holistic understanding. Now, I got a question from a diasporan who has pleaded that his identity be kept anonymous, which I'm going to do. I'm going to respect that. Now, the question that was raised, okay, is that, okay, I'm reading the question now. So the question that was raised is that, what will be the faith of people who have bought into a wrong property scheme? Okay, so right now I'm moving to the most important segment of this live video, which is the question and answers. So if you have questions, please let us interact on the comment section. Okay, please drop your questions on the comment section. Anything related to real estate. Okay, I want to buy. Okay, let me also quickly point this point. I'm a real estate practitioner here in Lagos. My office is also on the island. I help real estate. I do property advisories, property recommendations. We handle stages of purchase, and we emphasize mostly on due diligence. We do economic due diligence. We do paperwork. Of course, we have surveyors. So in case you want to have any form of real estate investment here in Lagos, Nigeria, you should be talking to us. We have an active client base, okay, of people who we have helped, okay, to secure good real estate investment opportunities, okay, ranging from finished houses ready to move in, to off-plan projects, to land acquisition and various. So we provide professional services like that. So in case you want to do any form of real estate investment, you can be sure that you should be talking to us. Of course, our social media handles at Instagram at King Scott, like Kings and Scott. You can check us out on Instagram. Then of course also on YouTube, King Scott TV is on YouTube. Then on TikTok, King Scott's Property One. That's what we have on TikTok. Also on Facebook, King Scott. So you can check us out in case you have any form of investment that you want to do. But let's go back to our question. So now the question I'm going to ask this particular real estate investor is, what is your own yardstick of judging if a project is right or wrong? Because it should be very, very unfair, okay, to draw into conclusions and agree that you have bought into a wrong project. Because number one, I don't know where this project is. Number two, I don't know who the developer of this project is. Number three, I've not gone to the site. Okay, so it is totally unfair, okay, to jump into conclusions whether a project is right or wrong. So we want to look at this and then come to a conclusion very quickly. So you are going to resend us that question by giving us some of insight to some of these points that I have raised, and then you probably want to rephrase that question. But what are the factors of a good construction project? Number one, financing. For some of us that have been active in this industry, I know how many times that we've had disagreements with developers. We have settled, we have fought, we settled, fought. There's a lot of back and forth, but I can tell you basically from our experience that it is always advisable, more importantly if you're buying into an off-land project, to buy from a developer that is financially strong. Or let me use this assertion: buy from a developer, permit me to use this word, we get money. Now the reason why I'm saying this basically is that I have seen and witnessed a lot of situations. And these situations basically are avoidable situations. When it comes to construction in Lagos, I've outlined some important things. Number one, whether a project will start and or it will end, whether you will get the value of your investment or whether you will regret your investment, is solely dependent on the active players of that project. And this is where the integrity and the structure of the company you are buying from is important. So, and that is why over time, okay, I have done critical evaluations of projects. Yes, I've even gone as far, okay, as investigating the source of funding for that project. Give it up to our lawyers, give it up to our team. They are, when I come online to give information, someone asked me, how do you have access to these informations? These are the things we do, because we don't want a situation whereby we start saying, we apologize, this is why the project it has never happened and it will never happen. So you need to understand that off plan now, okay, is not a child's play. Construction in Lagos now, because of this economic reality, is not something that can be handled with levity. So you have to go as far, okay, as as investigating the source of funding. Is the developer using a trust fund? Is he using loans from banks, or are private investors handling those projects? One of the things I respect a particular developer for, because if I should call his name now, a lot of people say I'm marketing him, but this particular developer did a program with us, his partners, his co-partners, people we promote his properties. And this particular developer was explaining how to fund your project in Lagos. With that kind of interaction, with that kind of, I will even say it's not just an interaction, it's a well comprehensive intellectual conversation. This particular developer gave us a step of how he has been able to fund his construction. And there is no project that this particular developer has done that has been abandoned. Not even a single one. So we go as far as understanding the source of funding, because these things are very, very critical. They are important. We need to understand that this project I'm putting my money into, I'm not going to regret in the past. Now, in some situations, okay, it is not always their fault, but regardless of the economic situations or what is happening, we need to emphasize on what? Thorough due diligence. So I was speaking with someone, and the person said, I'll send my lawyers down to check the titles. And I said, that's a fantastic thing. That's a fantastic idea. But I now told that investor that due diligence is beyond just checking documents. We need to look at credibility. We need to look at their past record, track records. So this particular developer gave us an insightful education of how he has been funding his project from his period of inception till date. You know that in Lagos, some people still know what they are doing, regardless of the economic situation. And that's why sometimes I've said it in one of my videos that if you get to a point in this our Lagos real estate, that you separate the boys from the men. So that is it. So you want to look at the source of funding. Very critical. Number two, you also want to look at the approvals and the quality of professionals handling that project. So it has just gone beyond, it's an odd deal. Get 2-bedroom apartment for, the way they usually do it now. A lot of people used to, make noise. Get this 2-bedroom, and we just find the situation, people just rush, boom, bam. 2 months into the project, 3 months into the project, towards the later part of the year, you just find out that nothing is going on again. Approvals. A state project approved by Lagos State government, it's very important you verify. Is this particular real estate development using professionals in this construction? I always make reference to the Jakonde issue. For some of us that, if you have been following me, I did an episode where I was giving a scenario when Lagos State government gave notice to some of the residents in the Jakonde axis. The house was controlled by the past governor of Lagos in the person of Lateef Jakonde. And the reason why government asked them to evacuate that structure was due to the fact that, the building is considered as a distress, their dilapidation, and that building stands high chance, of being collapsed. They could be collapsed. So government obviously wants, to reduce the cost of the cost of disaster. And government said this building is a distress building, and we want to avoid calamity of building collapse. So we are moving you guys from Jakonde in Lekki to Ikorodu so that while we pull down the structure. Kudos to the builder of that project, in person of late Honorable Lateef Jakonde, the former governor of Lagos State. And of course, from investigations and information that we have, that building has lasted for more than 45 years. So I would say it's a solid structure. But however, it is very important that we need to look at a long time process of maintenance. Now, as Nigerians, we don't pay attention to sustainability of a project. We don't. We are always interested on getting, which is very fantastic. It is very important that we get some things, but it doesn't just end there. We also need to understand, why it is very important to have a long time maintenance thing. So we need to understand and evaluate, is this guy using the right professional? Is he using an experienced architect? What is the structural drawing like? What are the electrification structure of that project is? What kind of sewage system or waste disposal system are they using? How is the piping and the plumbing work of that structure? What is the sustainability? How are these guys going to channel and solve the problem of drainage?